and welcome back to another episode of the Help Is Here podcast, brought to you by the Beyond Compulsion Academy. Today we're going to be talking through a client's junky thought. We may have done a podcast talking about this a while ago, but we're going to go through it in a bit less detail today, one bit at a time, and really dissect and analyze, and most importantly, correct this way of thinking. Mary, you're having a good time over there. I could see you laughing a little bit. You're
Yeah,
right.
well, it's just, coming into this, we were laughing a little too hard before we started recording. So I just had it still a little bit in my system. So I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. But no, junkie thinking is not funny. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. It's funny
Yeah.
as well. Talking about things being funny, but I think to any listeners out there, you might not know this, but outside of the podcast, I'd say me and you probably talk every day for an hour or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, probably
So,
something like that.
well,
Yeah.
I feel like we just make each other laugh sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's all good, right? So, okay, this thought then, you're right. It's a serious thing in terms of the actual education. So let's get into this.
Yeah.
It says, my first thought a lot of times is, does this really hurt me if I give in? I have been living with it so long already. So, a lot of guys we work with, they've been in the porn addiction decades and decades, right? Do you want to kind of just share why this thought is bullshit from the addictive part of the mind and how to correct it,
Does this hurt me if I give in? I've been living with it so long already.
Mm.
Well, if you're living with it and it's not hurting you, because if you give in, you're gonna be back in it, right? But if you're living with it and it's not hurting you, why are you trying to stop doing it?
Mm.
Doesn't make any sense. Of course, it's going to hurt you. It's not separate. It's going to continue to hurt you. If you give in, you're just going to continue to be in the pain and suffering that you are currently in, or that
Yeah,
you
I
were.
just want to elaborate on that bit a little bit more. So I think this is quite misunderstood, but
Yeah.
the reason people stay stuck in their addiction for decades is because every time you engage in the compulsive behavior, you're strengthening that addictive neural pathway. It's like you're wiring your brain to want it more. And obviously, we've been doing loads of videos recently and podcasts talking and critiquing other people's content who are kind of looking for some maybe deep cause. They're looking at the brain healing side of things. They're looking at trauma. And they're trying to analyze and change someone's life by looking at some sort of emotions that person is experiencing and thinking that if, we get rid of the loneliness, get rid of the shame, get rid of the stress, then we're going to solve the porn addiction. But that's not how all of this works. How it works is that the reason people want to watch porn isn't because of these reasons that the addictive part of the mind comes up with, but instead is because they've looked at porn in the past. So, this thought of, does this really hurt me if I give in? I've been living with it so long already. Well, that's just complete junky thinking, because the truth is that it's giving in which keeps you stuck in the cycle. The only way to get out of that cycle is to stop giving in and take back control of your own mind by experiencing and choosing to experience that discomfort in that moment you have the compulsive desire to rewire those neural pathways.
Yeah. And the pain and suffering of being in an addiction, it doesn't get to be less, where you get to be where you just will accept it. And now this is okay with me. That doesn't happen. That you have the basic dilemma. You want to do it and you want to stop. So then you try to deny that you want to stop because that desire is so strong. And in that junky thought, you're wanting to do it. That's why you're having the junky thought. That's what junky thoughts are. They are wanting to engage with that compulsive behavior. So it's just finding a way to get you to engage based on non-reality. And it's I know that gaslighting is super trendy, hashtag gaslighting or whatever, but it really is gaslighting coming from the addictive part of the mind in many junky thoughts, because it's oh, well, you're going to be okay with that pain and suffering when clearly you're not. And almost every single guy we've worked with been trying to stop for almost all of them, I would say at least 10 years, 10 years plus. They've been trying very hard to stop because of that pain and suffering. You think all of a sudden you're just going to go back in and be oh, no, I'm okay with it. and then you
Yeah.
engage, and then you're obviously back in it. So you think somehow you're gonna, now that the pain and suffering and all the consequences is magically going to be gone because you bought into this junky thought, not true. Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have a tool to think through that choice in a rational way, and also really think through the reality of those consequences. Because how memory works is, even though you may have been stuck in that porn addiction for such a long time and it may just feel like that is your reality now, well, if you go a few days without watching porn, and let's say you start to feel a little bit better, or maybe a few weeks, and that's possible, we see people, experience those temporary benefits of going on a streak for a little while, and they're nowhere
Yeah.
near the same benefits of actually stopping it properly. But you see people go on the no fap streaks and feel good for a little bit. What happens due to like how memory works is then people go, oh well, I'm good now, like the consequences of watching porn aren't that bad, and they totally
Right.
forget all of the pain they were once in. And that's why it's so imperative to really get your mind back in that place that you were once in the last time you relapsed. And
Yeah.
all the scripts and the remember letters all about, right? It's like really thinking through that choice in a rational way, because that's what the addictive part of the mind wants, is it wants you to downplay and minimize this problem and make it seem like you can engage and you're not going to have any consequences.
Yep. That's why we have the remember letters with the reality of being stuck in a porn addiction, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, and then when it's documented there very clearly, and you have made that part of your wiring, then the addictive part of the mind can't just, pull the wool over your eyes and just be like, oh no, that's not real. It's not going to be that bad. Right. Yeah.
100%. And then the second part of this junkie thought then is, I can't get my mind off it. It will always come back. I better do it and be over with it. So I think that's kind of that idea of the urges growing exponentially. Like they're never going to go until you eventually relapse and give in to the desire.
Well, they're not going to go away if you keep on. Give me the exact first words again.
I can't get my mind off it.
Right, there you go. I can't get my mind off it, right? Well, you got to get your mind on it for starters, because if you're trying to get your mind off it and you run into the gym and you run into the this and the that, everything from our last podcast, doing all these things to, distract and try not to think about and change your life, well, it's just going to keep on chasing you until you get your mind on it, and get your mind on it in a way that you can connect to that desire, and then think it all the way through in a rational way, and then change the outcome. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, you got to get your mind on it, not get your mind off it. That's right there is where you're going wrong. And the addictive part of the mind wants you to keep trying to get your mind off it,
mm,
because it's
mm.
just going to be right there waiting when your mind is like, you can't distract yourself forever, And again, compulsive desire refuses to be ignored, and junky thinking is compulsive desire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. And if you kind of think about this with like a bit of an analogy, is like, imagine some little thing was like chasing you. Well, you're either going to keep on running and running and running away from it, and maybe not even look at it once and think it's this like scary thing that can like actually harm you. But then if you actually just turn around and face it directly, you'll see that it's nowhere near as scary as you once thought it was. And that's the
yeah,
only way that you're going to feel like safe again and secure and trust yourself, by actually facing it
yeah,
directly. As long as you keep on running, you're just going to be on that treadmill forever, really. Keep on
yeah.
going and going and going with the self improvement shit, trying to distract yourself from the desires. It's no way to live. And that's why it keeps on coming back and feels like it's going to be around forever, because until it's dealt with directly, it kind of is going to be around forever, right? Like that's how the neural pathways work.
I like a stalker or a bully or something. It's like they keep after you, and you're so scared. You just keep running and keep avoiding and keep trying to get away until you finally go, okay, I'm going to turn around and see what this is all about here. And a lot of times with bullies, you do that. They're going to go chase somebody else, because they don't
Exactly.
want to stand up to them. And it's a whole different animal. Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Cool. All right. We'll wrap it up here then, if that's all right with you, Mary.
Sure thing. Yeah.
All right, nice one. Cheers for listening. Hopefully, it's helped someone. Maybe you can resonate to some of these thoughts and the corrections as well. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Thanks.